Vanakkam. Good afternoon. Thanks to IFA Galaxy and Mr. Srinivas. I'm here to talk to you, although I know nothing about mutual funds, except some poor investments, my own. I'm here to tell you a story not of an individual, but primarily of the city of Chennai and generally of India as a whole, that we Indians can also do it. I am not going to be funnier than I actually am. I'm not nervous, I'm not going to lie. And sorry, Mr. Carnegie, but I'm absolutely certain I'll be able to speak what I hope to speak. I will begin with these wonderful words of the people's president, APJ Abdul Kalam. The dream is not the thing that you see in sleep, but dream is that thing that doesn't let you sleep. In The Merchant of Venice, Portia says that if to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, poor man's cottages had been princesses' palaces and chapels had been churches. Similarly, if to do were as easy as to speak, ... So I will speak to you. I am no management guru. I'll only speak to you about little things that I was able to do with my team here in Chennai and earlier. Proof of the pudding. Deja vu for me, but perhaps some takeaways for you. Indian Railways is an institution. You love it or hate it. Cannot ignore it in India. I'm not a great speaker. I borrow a lot from what I call my poet uncles. Poet Kabir, my 600 years old uncle, my 400 years old English uncle, Shakespeare, my 200 years old Delhi uncle, Ghalib. Thanks to Mr. Srinivas, it's showing more time than I deserve. I cannot go long and winding. But there is a Q&A, I believe, or it may not be there, but there is a warning for you that I am a railwayman, have an inherent right to be derailed. Any attempt by you to derail me is not going to work. It is meaningless to teach an old dog new tricks, so I will start with I think I've done many things in life, but people don't think so. They only tell me to speak about the train, which I will. It's the same old story, but same tannin, same body, same terroir, but I hope in a new bottle, somewhat of a rosé for you. I will start with this buzzword of Atmanirbhar, which you definitely have heard. Started with this government to make India a factory of the world. Came COVID, rejigged into Atmanirbhar, self-reliance, with the hope that these lions of Make in India would roar into self-reliance. But have we heard those roars? Some purrs, some roars, certainly. They also introduced what I have written in red here, something that you understand, I don't. So I will not get into that. What I will definitely tell you is, to my mind, we have not been able to really appreciate the spirit of what is Atmanirbhar. I'm jumping here because you know what innovation is. Cycle is complete when it is tested in the market, be it any field, not technology. Technology and all that, there is an ecosystem which must encourage it, nurture it, manage it, and so on. But the spirit, let it be technology, let it be any field, let it be selling mutual funds. The spirit, ladies and gentlemen, is to build your own narrative and execute it with pride and ownership. Because it is that pride and it is that ownership which will make you do 110, 120, 125% over and above what you are otherwise capable of. In railways, we are used to what is called transfer of technology. So you go to some multinational, you bring every train, every loco has come through a transfer of technology. You bring 20, 30 of them Then a lot of transfer of documents, classroom trainings, visit abroad. But when you start making it yourself, after developing the vendors and everything, you are still not able to make it to the standard you imported. And why is that? Why does that beauty fade? My uncle has said, beauty is but vain, and in The Passionate Pilgrim, my uncle has said, beauty is but vain and doubtful. A shining gloss that fadeth suddenly. It is because technology, ladies and gentlemen, is again a creation. It lives in the mind, and even more than that, the heart of the Creator. There is no technology to transfer that. I will translate what I'm going to say now, but one poet has said, one of my uncles, मेरे शेर आईना खाने में तेरी बेशुमार अदाओं के. I can go poetic about your beauty, मगर ऐसी भी है कोई अदा जो रहेगी सीना ए राज में. There is something about the elegance of your beauty which will remain buried in the recesses of my heart. You are not going to get access to that. Unless the gap is too large, whatever you intend to do, ladies and gentlemen, create your own with ownership and pride. Not through a transfer of technology, especially in an area where you can do it yourself. That brings me to one question, a favorite question of mine. I must have asked audiences thousands of times, but I will venture to do it again. And that is nothing about technology. To do anything, anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, what is it that you need? Can I have some answers? Absolutely. So I got all the right answers. I only add a bit of my own here. These are all good answers. And that is, there is no other way but to love your work. My previous speaker has just said that opposite of love is indifference. Shed that indifference. Love what you do. Love the people you work with. Love those below, those above you. Love your organization. Unless it's a serious bread and butter issue. If you're not able to love, quit it. Now, all of you are leaders. Anybody dealing with human beings are leaders. It's not a matter of how many people you lead or so on, no. So for a leader and a human being, is it possible to love everyone? No. It's usually indifference, if not hate. As a leader, you have to then manufacture it. You have to construct it. You have to contrive it. And once it becomes a habit, the dividends you will get are immeasurable. Another of my uncles has said, एक लफ्ज़ से मोहब्बत का अदना ये फसाना है. This word love has this brief story. सिमटे तो दिले आशिक, और फैले तो ज़माना है. This word love has a very brief story. If it shrinks, it is the heart of a lover. But if it expands, it is the world. Message to you is very simple. Human resource is your primary resource, irrespective of all the artificial intelligence and so on and machinery plant. And so love whatever you do, with one caveat which I've started adding only a couple of weeks back. So I'm writing this book on the works of Ghalib, picking up a couplet and finding an equivalent from my English uncle. Sometimes it took me 3 days on one couplet to find an equivalent or opposite or something related with that. And I was stunned when I gave that query to ChatGPT. What took me 3 days was done in 3 seconds. So I don't know what's in the offing, but my discourse today is about what's applicable today. Oh, it was easy for me. You will remember that scramble for the window seat in a train as a child as the marvel, the wonder, the magic of India passed you by. Desolate here, crowded there, indolence and sloth, hard work and grind, pathos, mourning, celebration, joy, rivers, mountains, valleys, open fields. That's the organization I worked for, and my friend Mr. Kuppan who just came. It was impossible not to love it. So much so that when you travel in an Indian Railways train, the destination becomes unimportant, but the journey itself becomes of significance. And unlike the train I'm going to talk about, you have these doors which you can open as the train is moving, and you look back. As you peeped back to look at a snaking train, it would still give you goosebumps. And a great leveler, unlike a bus station or an airport, where the richest to the poorest still stand next to each other to catch the same train. In Tempest, Antonio says that travelers never did lie. Fools at home condemn them. I'm going to tell it to you, and I dare say that if you are not able to appreciate the fantastical views you see from a window of an Indian Railways train, then perhaps you are a prisoner of some of your contradictions and confines. We leave it there. If it was easy for me, it's not difficult for you as well. Whether it's selling Pepsi Cola for Indra Nooyi, or running trains for me, or selling mutual funds to public at large. Building wealth is what you're doing. You're not selling mutual funds. There is no way you will not going to love it. And that's the message I leave with you. But I'm not here to talk to you about this love. I'm here to talk to you about this. Otherwise, Mr. Srinivas would not have invited me. And that is, why is it that 70 years since independence, not even going before that, the recall of an Indian railway train remains the same? Close your eyes. This is what you see. Color has changed from Gulf red to blue. Some more AC coaches, some technology, but the same box type train is what you see. As a child, railway child, and in railway service, I always wondered that why is it what I see in magazines and later when we travel abroad is not why aesthetically superior, speedier, technologically advanced. Why such a train cannot be built in India with such a large pool of railwaymen and railway engineers? That was my angst. And in a way, my dream, all my service life. We leave it at that. With this message that love is fine, but the only thing permanent in any organization in this world, ladies and gentlemen, is change. In a government service, the donkeys and the horses move in the same file at the same speed. So I was also moving in the same file when my turn to become a general manager in 2016. Usually it's a very feudal organization, right? So people want to become the general manager of a zone when you have a fiefdom, a large empire, so to say. Whereas there are some 4 or 5 factories also where you have general managers. It's a very limited domain. And so I met the chairman. I told him I want to be posted in Integral Coach Factory, Chennai. And he was very pleased because he thought I have come here asking for Hubli or some other zone to be posted. I land there. This was set up in your own city in 1950s as a maker of current technology of coaches, as a dream of the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. We railwaymen never were able to provide a vision to it. And if there is no vision, there can be no action plan. It kept on doing more of the same. More of the same in much, much more numbers. To the extent that it has a world record of having made the maximum number of coaches from the same factory in 2015 itself, and now it has that world record by a large margin, but more of the same. What you see is Premier Chow and Lai of China, which came to ICF in 1955, I think, and he remarked that every Orient should be proud of this factory. And he would like Chinese engineers to come and learn how to make coaches. And 65 years hence, where have we reached? So we make a beeline to go to China to learn from them. Why in railways, practically every aspect of technology, they have left us far behind. I was invited to speak at IIM Kolkata, and on the subject was on being a government CEO. I didn't know what a CEO was, being a Sarkari man. So I made this table, and thanks to this government and empowerment, I was discovered that the government of India has empowered you in a manner that you can do things much more than the CEO of a large private enterprise. So there were two ways to look at it. One, you could misquote my uncle and say what's in a name. A rose would smell as sweet or as rotten. Or my Delhi uncle as he said that हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत लेकिन दिल के खुश रखने को ख्याल अच्छा है. Or the other way is to look at this immense canvas given to you with a palette of variegated colors for you to paint it in shades and hues to your liking. I tried to think of the second option, and I leave with you a message of make the best of what you have. The first thing to do in any organization, and particularly a government organization, is build empathy. It's again about love. Break barriers, break the hierarchical walls built over the years with a colonial mindset again. Propriety, which only barricades, doesn't give you much. I'll not go into too many examples. One is, of course, this, what you see on the left is a family tree of 12,000 men. Nobody bigger or small, with a small snap of everyone. Put right in the lobby, and it became a selfie point for people to come and take a photo there with their family. It was an exercise to find your own mug. I had to take help of my attender to find my own mug, because it was all in alphabetical order, but you can imagine 12,000 faces. We are a 10,000 crore enterprise. I said 0.5% is mine. I'll only spend it on many things to improve facilities in the colony, in the factory, and so on. So there were many inaugurations. But I'll come to inaugurations later. But I was, the second in charge told me that you have all these ideas, you keep doing all that, don't interfere with production. So I had a lot of time. One of the things I would do just walk around in the factory and meet 500 people and just go and ask them. I was told never to ask that question, but that was the question I would ask. Any problem? And 99.5% of the time, what was the answer? No problem, sir. Because a bridge was being built. GMs had come and gone. Workers would not even know the name, let alone the face of their GM, because he would come there as a ceremonial head. I would go and hug them, which reminds me of a small story. Okay, I have to say it in Hindi. Many of you would remember when the great Rahul Gandhi went and hugged the Prime Minister Modi in the parliament. You remember that, right? After that, Modi ji said that आज पता लगा कि गले लगने और गले पड़ने में क्या फर्क है. तो मैं जाके गले पड़ जाता था इनके. एक लास्ट है, एक और चीज है जो which I want to say at the bottom is these bureaucrats like me have learnt it from politicians to glorify themselves with government money, put their names on plaques, as if that would immortalize them, forgetting that someday a dog is going to do his thing there. So I asked my chief engineer that we are 70 years old, please count all the plaques which has the name of bureaucrats, chairman, member, GM, CM, whoever. Not politicians, don't touch them. So he said, here is a fellow who's going to put somebody to shine up these plaques and so on. He comes back and tells me, sir, we have counted. I said, don't leave anyone. We have counted, we have some 165 odd plaques since 1955. I said, put all your staff, you have 24 hours, extract them, throw them in the dust. That's where they belong. And let everyone see where it belongs. From now on, we will do an inauguration every week because we are spending money, but it will be done by the staff who has worked there all his life. A senior-most staff, about to retire, he is the one who is going to value it. He will come with tearful eyes, stand next to the plaque with his daughter, with his son, with his family, with his parents, and take that memory back with him. We did 540 inaugurations. 40 were too big, so we would invite luminaries. In Chennai, there is no dearth of great Bharatanatyam dancers, great sportsmen. No politician, no bureaucrat. All 500 plus done by staff. 500, if one man has influence over, say, 5,000 people won over by this simple act which cost us nothing. Message is very simple. I don't know, you are an organization, you are in an environment where it may not be directly applicable, but don't forget. Empathy, empathy, and empathy. I will quickly skip that. GM has a fund of 25 lakhs to entertain the bigwigs of the city network. But what does it give to ICF? I asked them, is there any provision, some Babugiri saying it can't be spent on my own staff? They said, sir, nothing is written like that. I said, all this 25 lakhs I'm going to spend on giving party to my own staff, starting from the lowest level to the earlier. And they would come to the GM's bungalow, which has high walls, you can't see inside for the first time. Again, nothing but building bridges, at government money, of course. There is one caveat, and I will not relate that famous poetry here, but quickly I'll go into what my uncle has said is, don't waste your love on somebody who doesn't deserve it. 2% would never work. 30% are so motivated, all they need is pat on the back. Rest 68% or so. Watch if there is a premium on performance or if there is a punishment for non-performance. And for their sake, using the power given by Government of India, which is rarely used, don't keep anybody in an organization after you have punished him. Either you counsel him, don't punish him, but if he cannot be reformed, throw him out. There is nothing in between. We were able to throw out 165 people in my tenure of about 29 months. If there is a case of starvation or alcoholism where he can be reformed, show mercy later on, but never begin with mercy. Show your fangs first, because nothing emboldens sin so much as, if I can add, misplaced mercy. Before I come to the story, for which I seem to have 13 minutes, and that way I perhaps avoid the question and answer, which can perhaps derail me. Ideation is something which is forced down our throat in government. It is demanded, commanded, cajoled, dismissed, ridiculed, whereas every man has great ideas. Every man has ideas. They're never given a platform. All you need is to encourage it. Most of the things I have been able to do in my life is because of ideas emanating from below, not from top. This was something we encouraged in various fora, and there was tremendous result. Many things done, 3,000, 4,000 big or small things done without any extra effort, only through individual initiative. I will tend to skip what we did with the production and the manpower per coach. As I said, I will not induct even one man. Even existing panel of 150 substitute to be appointed, I gave it to Southern Railway, because for any work we begin by asking for more men, whereas that square root formula, using your existing pool of men, will always give you more results than asking for more men. We turned this ICF lake, which was accumulating the sewerage of nearby colony. I blocked that after 30 years. DMK, MLA, AIDMK, MP both turned against. I convinced both of them that I don't have CSR, but I have vendors. They'll help you divert all this sewerage, but nothing is coming to ICF lake. And after 35 years, pelicans started descending in the lake again. In 2019, those from Chennai would know the water shortage the city faced, and ICF lake was one of the water bodies which retained water, even at that time. It is a picnic spot now, and this kind of showed the spirit of resurgent, if I may say, but the community effort of Integral Coach Factory. This is something which you must take with you. So we have this Vishakha business, sexual harassment. Then there's an inquiry. I said, I'm not Chief Judge of India, I'm only an administrator. Learn of any sexual harassment. I give myself 24 hours. First 8 hours to determine whether the complaint is genuine. Next 8 hours, the empowerment given by Government of India to sack an employee without an inquiry. I will write, or my officers would write. I'm not letting that lady go through that horror of experience. Not going to relive that. I'm going to sack the fellow, show him the door. We sacked 4, gave a lot of confidence among those 15% women employees. Some of them were working, we made separate gangs to work, but what still lasts in my mind is these 29 Chennai women, aged 23 to 57, supervised by a lady supervisor and a lady officer, building a coach entirely on their own. This is not something you will see anywhere in India so easily, and that's the publicity they got, and it still lives with me. I don't know if the gang still works, but it was one of the lasting memories that I carry from the factory. I have to go to the story now, unfortunately, because everything else that I talked about was something which built the train. It was not the train in itself. This is a train, basically a permanently coupled train, unlike a train with a locomotive at each end. It has all these advantages. You can pack a lot of power, it cuts down travel time, you can pass from one cab to another without realizing that you have crossed a coach because of sealed gangways. Many, many, many advantages, but it was not happening for the last 30 years. And the reason was these two. The first one you see is these departments in railways. Somebody maintains coaches, somebody maintains locomotives. There is a fight as to whose baby this new train is going to be. Let the interest of railways and the country go to hell is the narrow, very, very narrow, clannish good that we would look for. Or, so why? So we have this problem. We are either mindlessly global or hopelessly local, whereas we need to be mindfully local. So this thought that why waste your time? We are not ISRO working in an environment of technology denial, import. You will get much better than what you're going to make. All this. We could not get that train for 30 years. Only procrastination and debate. And that's where I come to this circle. We all have so many concerns. And rightfully so, because many things don't work here. But in that, we forget that small dot of our influence. That big circle becomes a concern and dominates our thinking. Even Modi ji doesn't have a circle of influence as big as the circle of concern. But as the Chinese saying goes, what's the use of cursing darkness? Why not light your own candle? शिकवा जुल्मत शब से कहीं बेहतर था. Shikwa complained, zulmat, darkness, shab, evening. शिकवा जुल्मत शब से कहीं बेहतर था. अपने हिस्से की एक शमा जलाते जाते. Time for me to light that candle had come, to turn that angst and that dream into reality. We are told we must live our dream. I qualify it to say, first look after your bread and butter, especially young people. But never, never let your dream die. Let it never be extinguished. You never know when the opportunity will come to you to realize this. And for me, that time had come. Here I was with the dream. I thought the vision. Fortune, because the staff and the officers of Integral Coach Factory were the best possible in the country. Looking back, I'll not change one person from that core team. They were bored doing more of the same. Ennui written on their face. They had that technical audacity, a chutzpah to do something, and there was only a need to channelize that energy. That was the fortune, but there was a doubt. You may be a powerful general manager, but you need a sanction from the ministry. You may spend a lot of money, whatever, but to make a new train, you need a sanction. I said, what's difficult about that? I'll get that. Foolhardy I was. There was a lot of negativity, cynicism. They thought I was spinning a yarn, looking for publicity and so on. And that's when this message comes to my mind, which I must tell you. There is something called pride and there's something called vanity. Pride enhances. Pride makes you look at everyone with respect. Vanity reduces and makes you look at everyone, belittle everyone. And that was the time I gave all the logic to the chairman railway board that ICF can do it. He said, yes, others are not letting me do it. You are the chairman railway board. If you don't let me, then who would? Then I lied. I said, I will make it before you retire. He was retiring in 14 months. Then I said, you import whatever you want. Who am I to stop you? But I'll build this train at 1/3 the cost. All white lies. Seemed to waver, but then I fell at his feet. I said, I am not going to leave this feet till you give me the sanction. I was killing my vanity to enhance my pride. My pride because I got the sanction and I get to my people. And I say that here I am with the sanction and now we get along, we move. The message is very simple. Somebody will definitely kill your vanity someday. Better kill it yourself today. So here I am, and then another doubt. 200 crores for 2 trains. First time ab initio, if it doesn't work, who will be the scapegoat? I said, I'm retiring in 21 months, in December 18. What can they do to a retired person? I'll be the scapegoat. Of course, I realized later that they can do things to a retired person as well. But if you deliver this train, you will bask in that glory for the rest of your life. For having given to the country something that it has been waiting for decades. That worked like magic. My message from my uncle is very simple. Our doubts are the traitors which make us lose the good we might often win by fearing to attempt. गिरते हैं शह सवार ही मैदान जंग में वो तिफल क्या गिरे जो घुटनों के बल चले. And that's when we decided it will be our own, as I already said, good or bad. It will not be world class, but it will be our baby. And from now on we can only improve, not like imported project that we go down. At the same time, we should quickly, I'll go through this, and that is, it's better to be a witty fool than a foolish wit. Wherever you have gaps, go to some consultant. Don't go to a company which has future interest in supplies. And there are companies like that which I knew from my Berlin days. So we engage them with the caveat that every line you draw, every word that you write will be with our people, virtually or in person, So that next time round, I have to design a 200 kilometers per hour train. They are going to do it entirely on their own. The last message, I was told you are retiring in December 18, such a project from concept to design, engineering, manufacture, validation, test, prove out, takes 36 to 42 months. Go to a large company, and that's the systematic way of working. So by December 18, when you retire, we would have only made the drawings. Manufacture would not have started. And the next leader would say, why have you purchased this trouble? Go and do more of the same. Build 5,000 coaches. But why are you making this train? It can only lead, if it doesn't work, you'll have problems and so on. And that's when I said that that's a problem. But let's do something which has never been done. Which has never been done in the world, which ICF, Chennai railwaymen will do. Work, burn their midnight oil. Work to others' timings. And we will turn out this train before I retire. That means in calendar year 2018 itself. And to remind everyone that the train is going out in 2018, we then decided to give it a name. And that's when we called it Train 18. And hitches, glitches, synergy solutions over the next 18 months I need not go into. The train was finally ready for unveiling in October of 2018, living up to its name once again, getting ready in exactly 18 months in an unprecedented ceremony inside the factory where all the family was allowed. Hype had already been built because the way the train looks, but all the families and the selfies and photographs going on gave us only one message, but entire ICF and their family, who had already made 60,000 coaches, looked at this train as their own baby. That is the happiness and thrill of your own. Finally, it was tested. Above 180 kilometers per hour, came out with flying colors, was launched by the Prime Minister himself as Vande Bharath Express between Varanasi and Delhi. It has gone through nearly 4 years of service without any glitch so far, which is more than 6 Sigma. 2 things before I end. So it was just a train. It's not Chandrayaan or Mangalyaan or rocket or a missile. But why did we get so much love? Because the media projected it and people loved it as a symbol of resurgent, aspirational India. Thank you very much, because as my uncle says, joy's soul always lies in the doing, but I'll correct it by saying that when you give me an opportunity to relive that story, that's also pretty much joy's soul. And 1,000,000, 1,000 such projects are possible in this country. All it needs, ladies and gentlemen, is leadership with empathy, passion, and a sense of purpose. Thank you very much.